And finally, there was one big one.
Yeah.
Was there any significant difference that you would say that can affect the process?
None. At that point, none. Kasi nga, three complaints from organizations, private ones, hindi mga not members of the House. And then they decided, the House leadership decided na, why don't we diretso na lang natin by a vote, by more than the required one-third vote. And they did get more than enough votes for that. Na hindi na kailangan nag-hearing sa committee level ng House of Representatives na aayon yan sa Constitution. Yung ganyang mode na diniretso nila. So diniretso nila, pero kailan nila diniretso yung complaint, yung articles of impeachment, and then nagkaroon ng mga break yung sa ano nga pa lang when kinonsider na yung impeachment complaints ay mag-Christmas break. And then we were hoping that when they resumed after the Christmas break, they will immediately tackle. Hindi kaagad nangyari yon. And then they did it on the last day naman. Pero sinasbit nga nila dun sa Senate. And then we were expecting na a-actionan din kaagad ng Senate. But as we saw it, and what we are seeing now, ang feeling ko dyan, Fred, is hindi ko na alam kung ano nangyayari. Ano ba talaga ang gusto? What is it? Ano ba? Bakit marami pang mga nagiging balakin dyan sa impeachment? Nandyan na nga. At magiging ready ang prosecution kapag matuloy na talaga yan. And then look at the latest development. They're supposed to already have that proceedings on June 2 when Congress resumes after the election break. And then how come? Minove na naman, riniset, pinospone, reset to February, June 11. And that is, paano na yun? The sine die, adjournment already. So what are they, ano ba ang, nila? Kailan pa yan matatackle? So, I can only foresee, imagine, on that last day, on that sasabihin na lang nila na hindi na pwede. Kasi, yun na nga, magkakaroon na ng argument, that view about, no, hindi na pwedeng mag-carry over yung impeachment proceedings na yan kasi mayroon na tayong bagong Kongreso.
Yes.
Di ba?
And what's your take on that? Because there are two schools of thought. One, the Senate is a continuing body. The other one, it's a new Congress altogether. There has to be a refiling. What's your position on that?
I always admit that it is an open issue. Novel issue. Hindi pa tayo na-confront ng ganyan legal issue before. Yung Supreme Court, wala pa rin ganyang kaso. So we would expect that whatever happens, halimbawa, sasabihin ngayon ng Senado, ayaw na namin, hindi na namin ito i-continue kasi hindi na pwede. Dahil new Congress na. So, the prosecution will most probably bring it to the Supreme Court. Or kung ang desisyon naman ng Senado ay sige, ituloy na natin to because it's supposed to be a special proceedings. It's not an ordinary legislative function. It's sui generis. It's one of a kind. So hindi pwedeng i-apply lang yung mga ordinary rules ng Senado. Kaya nga meron din rules for impeachment, and what is most important is yung nasa saligang batas, yung sa Constitution, dapat tuloy-tuloy din dapat yan. So iaakyat din yan ng defense sa Supreme Court. So ultimately, Supreme Court ang mag-decide, but in the meantime, lalo na kung maka-TRO sila, may stall na naman the impeachment proceedings. But we're getting mixed signals also, and even from the President himself.
And that's my next question, ma'am. Because again, this appears to be the result of the rift between the erstwhile unity. So, since the President himself has not said just once, quite a few times, he does not want this, how will it affect the motivation of the prosecution team to really push this?
Okay, first, Fred, I'd like to clarify that I'm not speaking here actually in behalf of the prosecution. It's my personal view. Itong mga linalahad ko ngayon. Because, first of all, hindi pa ako official member of the prosecution panel. I was invited, I said yes. But since hindi pa ako hindi pa naka-officially assumed as member of the House of Representatives, pareho kami ni Dean Chell na hindi pa kami miyembro. Hindi pa kami official. So I cannot really speak on behalf of the prosecution. I'm just guessing kung ano ang position ng prosecution, but I'm not really representing them. It's my personal view as one who is ready to serve in the prosecution panel. Kasi, di ba, Fred, pwede pa nga magbago eh. Pwedeng sabihin ngayon ng House leadership, we don't need you anymore. Either or both of us, ni Attorney Dean Chell. So that's perfectly within their prerogative kung ano ba talaga gusto ba nila kami or hindi. So anyway, so makakastall yan ng impeachment proceedings. Ano ba yan? It just shows weakness actually in leadership. Na, okay, really, that is a congressional matter and we have separation of powers. But in reality, di ba, this is both a legal and political matter, a legal and political trial. So people will not believe if a president says, na wala akong pakialam. Kasi in the first place, hindi ko gusto. But this is a very significant matter na hindi madalas nangyayari. At tungkol nga ito sa pagsusulong ng mga fundamental na mga prinsipyo sa Constitution natin. Truth, justice, and lalo na accountability. Kaya meron ganyang proseso. So at least show your interest. Okay, you don't really intervene because that is supposed to be what is expected kung the separation of powers is at play. But at least you show interest. Instead of discouraging people, you have to show, ito, importante ito. Kaya dapat seryosohin ito ng Kongreso. Without necessarily saying, I am for it. I want Vp Sara to be impeached and to be removed in office.